Hi, so I have just been working on a personal branding session plan for a client, and something's just popped into my head, and it's linked to an article that I shared last weekend, and I think it's really relevant. The article wasn't mine, it was someone else's that I'd shared, and it was about the anti-role model, kind of like the opposite of what we traditionally think of as a role model. And it was talking about how they can be really helpful in defining us. And I'm thinking about that a step further, actually, in terms of defining our brands and the businesses that we want to be running. Because for us to be happy in them and for them to be successful, they need to be authentic to us. Now, that word's bandied around a lot and it often makes me cringe, but in this context, it's really, really valuable because we end up becoming a sum of all of our life experiences to date, good and not so positive. So I've been really lucky. I've worked with some of the most amazing managers, company leaders, etc. in the past, and I have learned so much from them, been inspired by them, and some of them have even taken the time to encourage me and mentor me, and it's been amazing. So that's all the positive stuff. I have also learned a huge amount from the few people that I've come across in my career who offer more of a masterclass in not what to do. Now, all right, at the time, it was an awful experience, and if we get to know each other, that's a story that's bound to come out because it's really part of my brand story, and it's really part of why I do what I do and how I do it, and my whole ethos and ethics are kind of strongly linked to some of these not so positive experiences that I've had in the employment world. So that being the case, when it comes to me, you, any of us, presenting our brand to the outside world, we need to think really carefully about the messages that we're sending and the language we use, the words we use, the phrases we use, and that feeds into the imagery we're using, will have a massive impact on how we're perceived and who will feel that they're right for us. And by the very definition of someone feeling right, someone else probably won't. And that's okay. This isn't about pleasing everybody, but it's about sort of putting our stake in the sand and being something, and being that something consistently across the board, no matter what platform you're on, no matter whether you're face-to-face or writing a blog, or however anyone comes into our orbit as a brand, we need it to feel consistent, cohesive. And part of my belief is I want that to be really positive. That doesn't mean that I skip through fields imagining, you know, happy fluffy bunnies. I don't mean that. But I'm linking this to a post that Rin Hamburg, a blog that Rin Hamburg wrote a while back, and it was about the power of positive language. And Rin, if I can put the link in to that post, I will. If not, I'll just end up tagging you, so maybe you can add it as well, because it's a really useful blog for all of us to read. And we get the opportunity to put our best foot forward every day in our business. All right, we might have messy hair or, you know, that kind of thing. I don't mean that. I mean showing up and standing up for what we believe in. And I choose to make that a really positive experience. I set my business up as Newborns and Families a few years ago, and the reason I set it up was because I'd found a gap in the market. I had a not so brilliant experience with a really big name photographic studio when my son was born. And whilst that gave me the idea of what I wanted to be and how I wanted to be different, when I talk about the story of my business. I don't focus on, you don't want that, that's rubbish, blah de blah, because A, that's not how I am as a person, and also I'm not sure that it's a particularly great marketing method either. I wouldn't want to be associated with the sort of person that is trying to be successful by putting others down, because I do believe that there's room for everyone, whether that's a big name studio or little me setting up on my own. And I think the same can be true for all of our businesses. We can choose positivity, and I don't mean that as in happy clappy, I mean we can use proactive positive language. I offer you this because of that, and the reason it's loved is because of. That's all really positive. I could also get a similar message out there by saying, I don't do this, I don't do that, you don't want that, it's rubbish, blah, 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 blah. Now, arguably, perhaps the points remain the same, but the way we frame them is really, really different. And that's something that I think is really important when it comes to defining our brand. Part of it is our brand voice, who we are, what we stand for, why somebody would want us. And you can choose either approach, and this isn't about this is right and this is wrong. It's just something to think about when you're defining your brand, who you are, and what you want your clients to think and feel and know about you. Yes, that again, I keep banging on about it, but it's all linked. So I hope that was useful. Hopefully we can get Rin's blog post linked to this as well, because that's a really great way of explaining the tangent that I've just gone off on and why. But do let me know what you think and what your approach to this kind of challenge is, because we've all set up businesses for different reasons, and very often it's because of maybe something not feeling great about an experience that we've had. So there we go, let me know.